Samjen damjen dewa dan deve judan dembara jurji dongel dan dongel ye judan dewa jurji dongel mebe dewa damba dan mendewa jurji niren chadan dan rejinan de danyon chenpo la newa jurji.
Bienvenidos a todos, buenas noches. Y nosotros, el Grupo Semilla, nos estamos reuniendo acá por algo muy especial, la llegada de el venerable Khenpo Pema Wangdak. Él representa al budismo tibetano, la tradición Sakya, pero en todo el mundo está la fundación Vikramasila del venerable Khenpo Pema. Son escuelas donde se da también para todo aquel que quiere interiorizarse en la filosofía budista, en la manera en que podemos conducirnos de una forma más eficaz en este mundo tan tecnológico, tan frío, que nos aparta muchas veces de nosotros mismos. El budismo, como tantos otros caminos, nos da pautas, nos da herramientas, nos da posibilidades de, aunque no busquemos una religión, buscar un sentimiento interno de mayor contacto con quienes somos realmente, para obtener un mundo mejor. Y cuando el Grupo Semilla se enteró de que iba a pasar cerca nuestro un lama de Tíbet, con una tradición directa, bellamente transmitida desde hace miles de años, dijimos, no podemos perder la oportunidad de traer para nosotros y para todo aquel que tenga el coraje de encontrar las palabras de un lama, en este caso siempre traducidas por los labios de quienes fueron sus discípulos, no podemos perder la oportunidad de ofrecer esto a Mar del Plata. Y ha sido desde los 7 años monje. En la tradición Sakya, su santidad, Sakya Trisi, fue director espiritual y quien le fue concediendo los grandes atributos para convertirse luego de retiros de silencio y de grandes iniciaciones en Khenpo, ese maestro espiritual que hoy nos visita. Khenpo Pema tiene en Nepal y en India escuelas donde recibe a refugiados tibetanos y les da una educación completísima para luego ir al mundo, y donde por otra parte se sigue manteniendo el idioma tibetano, que en Tibet está muriendo. Queda poco de la cultura tibetana en Tibet, porque China se ha encargado de devastar meticulosamente esa cultura que, al decir del Dalai Lama, si se pierde totalmente, la humanidad va a sentirla muy en lo profundo, la cultura tibetana. Khenpo Pema es una de las personalidades encargadas de recorrer el mundo, abriendo la posibilidad de conocer esta cultura tibetana, trayéndola a Occidente desde hace muchos años. Están las escuelas en Nepal, como decía, y en India, con los niños refugiados. Y esos niños van a poder seguir transmitiendo la cultura tibetana, van a hablar tibetano, cosa que en el Tíbet se ha ido perdiendo meticulosamente. Hay 3 generaciones que no hablan ya tibetano, y es un dolor muy grande, saber que ese pueblo tan rico, tan generoso, tan compasivo, tan amoroso, donde justamente el Dalai Lama, Premio Nobel de la Paz, nace, en este momento no puede ofrecerle a él, su líder espiritual, un lugar para que asiente su cuerpo, su presencia, porque él no puede entrar a Tibet por nada, es perseguido. Pero bueno, en todas partes del mundo el idioma está tratando de ser recobrado para que no se pierda, como tantos idiomas en el mundo que día a día se desvanecen porque la tecnología y la civilización, entre comillas, nos va devastando sin que nos demos cuenta. Pero a veces la devastación es externa y en lo interno sigue floreciendo esa joya sagrada que busca ser cada día, como decía hoy, mejores seres humanos en cada cual.
Please sit down. I'd like to say good evening to everyone.
a todos.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. I'd like to express my joy meeting all of you tonight.
Quiero expresar mi dicha en estar aquí con todos ustedes esta noche.
I'd like to thank Semija Group who is hosting and organizing our meeting today. And I've been here many times to Plata and come to know some of you. And I have a good feeling every time I come here. Part because when I do travel, I don't know what I can teach, but I do learn a lot myself. You won't know, but I will be saying certain things I'll learn from you. And I hope that you learn something what we're supposed to talk tonight. My talk is not to teach you, but to make you think and to bring new questions, new curiosities. Yeah. There are many parts of our life that we never give any attention. Sometimes we pass the entire life without ever suspecting that there's something more to this life. Yeah. And I'd like to encourage you to be inquisitive, open-minded when it comes to the feeling, ideas, but narrow and focused when it comes to action. So our topic today is about patience, and I know you come for that.
Nuestro tema es
There are things in our life we think we know, but we realize we don't. But there are things we know very well, but we think we don't know. Patience is one of those things we think we know, but I don't think we know much. We always talk about peace, love, affection, kindness, generosity. I think there are probably thousands, hundreds of thousands of words, millions of words, millions of talks, millions of books written about it. But there's nothing much said about patience. It's just left it to our own device. We always say, may there be peace in the world. May I have joy of life, etc., etc. We pray, we give talk, we listen to the talk, but we hardly say, may I have a patience. And it is like, and we notice, it's like a cooking. When you cook something, you have a recipe. And your idea is to fill your tummy, and while you're eating, it's supposed to taste good. And when somebody gives you a recipe, unless they're very generous, who gives you a complete recipe, the things don't turn out the way they say it should be. The grandmas always give recipes to each other, to their neighbors, but they always leave one thing not told. And then I have a very close grandma. I said, I heard about it. Is that really true? Or maybe some? And she said, of course. It feels like that because we all talk about love, happy, everything, but it just goes very easily go wrong. It kind of breaks up, gets upset, it's very easy to lose our peace of mind or affection. In fact, the easiness is so good that it doesn't take much. One unkind word will ruin our day. It tells us, like a bread, it's just brittle, it just falls apart. In the United States, I learned one little funny story. So, in the teachings of the Buddha, the patience is one of the vital part of the body teaching.
Yes.
It's like our body. You have a heart, you have a liver, you have a lung, you have a kidney. They are the vital organs. If one of them is not functioning, it makes the rest useless. In the same way, compassion, peace, love, generosity, ethics, meditation, your wisdom, knowledge, and one of them is called patience. If somehow patience is not to be seen in reading, the rest is not going to work. So that's your first message, that we cannot succeed without patience. We do have some degree of patience, of course, we do, but not conscious, educated patience that is backed by the knowledge and wisdom that we don't. So whatever you do, spiritual matter, work, peace, family, business, anything you do, make sure, at least for the sake of today's talk, that there is this ingredient called patience has to be there. Some form, some degree of patience has to be there. So let's change the subject a little bit, and that is the function of the patience. The function of the patient is kind of like a power, a strength, a force in itself. It's like your body. Your body is composed of muscles and bone. So the patience is like the bone part that has that has the solidity, that has to push the body together. Or it's like this building. This building is huge, and it has hundreds, probably thousands of tons of weight right over our head. It is something, some kind of force, some kind of strength holds it together like that. Without that force or reinforcement, this whole thing is not going to stand up. It will come down. It will fall apart. So you have the bricks and you have the steel bars or the mortars that goes in the bricks that keeps the structure strong and hold the weight. And that force, that reinforcement is your inner power, the patience is. Now with that, then you can do anything basically. It will actually, it will change your experience, it will change the outlook, it will actually change the reality. That the reality objectively is going to be the same, but subjectively the reality is going to change. I'll tell you one little story. When I was little, the parents would tell you to do errands, borrow sugar, borrow salt, and you don't want to go there. You just feel like you don't want to do it. And the camp we live, we have very little pots and pans. If one family buys it, then it will be shared by 6 or 7 others, one after another. The pot will be borrowed from one family to another. And I don't want to do that too. Until they say, we're going to cook the food that you want. Then I'll just jump and run and immediately go and bring it back. There's something that makes me do it. Very easy. It's very easy to do it for me. You can guess that is because I'm happy. I'm happy, I'm excited. Whatever the reason was, reason maybe not as profound as, but there is joy in my mind. And now I have no problem doing that very easily. So when you feel difficult in your life, work at office, maybe at home, maybe relationships, maybe your own meditation practice, whatever that's not seems to be hard, is because your amount of joy, the volume joy, is way down below somewhere. Yeah, loss of joy is our biggest nemesis in our life. And the greatest enemy to the joy is impatience. We never think like that, but there's correlation, there's connection between the connection between the joy and patience, or powerlessness and impatience. If you look close enough, you will see it. But just like that, you won't see it. That's why impatience is the first thing if anything goes wrong. So we need to learn the benefit of being patient as well as the disadvantages of impatience. They're very distinctly there. They're not just a passing problem. The impatience is a very, very destructive power. There's no such more power, negative power than impatience. Even some of us believe, some don't, but let's just say there's evil. That evil in the form of, say, Mara or Satan or demon or something. Even they cannot harm us. When they need to harm us, they provoke us and make us unhappy, angry, impatient. Even they cannot do it without the help of being provoking us negatively. So in other words, there's nothing out there that can harm us except the impatience itself. So let's little bit talk about the disadvantages of impatience. First thing is it looks ugly. It is real. It's really real. It's not imagination. It works very effectively. And it can ruin a relationship or work that you may have had that for 10, 20, 40, 30, 50 years in an instant. It is absolutely guaranteed to bring negative end result. Now that's, I'm putting very simply, but of course we have a misconception which talk separately. But let's just say, if you take a walk on the street and say bad thing to 100 people, you're guaranteed that these 100 people, all of them unanimously will dislike you. Is it absolute, that kind of absoluteness? Unless a person who's not mentally healthy or kind of sound, nobody's saying, oh, that's very nice, you say a bad thing to me. Then you just flip this experiment mentally, of course. I really don't want to do that. But just change the subject and just take a nice walk, smile at everybody, say nice things. Just a kind word. 200 people. It's almost guaranteed that they will like you. There's no doubt about it. Whether they're smart or not so smart, whether they're children, whether they are sick, young, old, even cats and dogs, animals will love you just because you're nice to them. It's a universal truth. So you can sort of course we need the help of awareness and mindfulness to bring this idea up front in our conscious day-to-day life. So the first disadvantage is you lose friends, you look ugly, And there are countless other disadvantages. It's endless. Whoever has a negative mind will have to face that. Impatience actually attracts or magnetizes harms. In other words, the harm we receive is the amount of the, first of all, harm we receive. The second is the amount of the harm we receive. And third is the consistency of the harm we receive are determined not by somebody out there. It looks like it, it feels like it, but if you look deeper, it's not. It's somewhere else. I'll tell you two stories. Story is, of course, our teacher, the Buddha. You can, I don't think you can see this far, but he's sitting like this, right? You've all seen the statue of the Buddha one way or another. Always like this, and he always smiles, all right? Have you ever noticed the smile on the Buddha's face? Did you notice that? Can you raise your hand? Have you ever give attention? The statue of Buddha has his face, kind of smiles. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So Buddha's sitting like this. His right hand is we call earth touching Mother Earth. Yeah. And his left hand is the meditation like this. And he was meditating both hands like this, but there is a moment. This is the moment of enlightenment. Buddha has many kind of gesture, the statue has many, sometimes like this, sometimes like this, sometimes like this, but this one is like this. And this is called enlightenment gesture. It means that the evil, the Maras, the negative, say, no, you can't do this. You cannot get enlightened. In other words, as good as saying, you cannot be happy. Right, in the Oriental language. So all the evils come say, you cannot get enlightened. And so they brought all kinds of distractions. Some look attractive, some look all kinds of fear, threats, and destructions. So Buddha said, put his hand on the earth. Earth is my witness. And I'm going to sit here, I'm not going to move. You can do whatever you do to me, I'm not going to move. Nor I'm going to react to you. I'm doing nothing. So Buddha sat, and eventually all the evil get tired, they left. And that was it, as simple as that. And I don't have enlightenment, I have no knowledge of enlightenment, but I have a little tiny incident that I remember as a child. I thought it's good to tell you so you can understand the message. So as a kid, when you go to sleep, your friends will tease you by putting little grass on your ear, and then you wake up, you get angry. And I get angry, and they look at my face, and they're so happy because I'm angry. And they're getting a lot out of my miserable face. You know? The more I react, more they feel like they want to do this. Yeah. So one day I realized I'm very good at thinking. So I was thinking, why me? Why not to other kids? Why me? So I just noticed the whole thing was provoked by my own reaction that I provide that thing, that kind of feeling. So I deliberately decided just to let them do it. And not anger, not reaction, just let them do it. As soon as I stopped reacting, they stopped completely. There was no fun, nothing. Yeah. You got the idea, is that right? How many of you missed the point? The reason I tell this story is that it's extremely important to change your understanding of the whole scene. It's very important. How to really understand how we operate within ourselves. Right now, I'm sure some of you already knows, but for most of us, we think that if nobody harms me, I will be very happy. If everybody loves me, I will be happy. But you know what? That person is very irritating to me. Therefore, I'm not happy today. So this is how we operate. Because how we operate is based on our worth, is based on somewhere else as the source of happiness, source of whatever is good out there for me comes from somewhere else. Our happiness is, for many a time, happiness based on saying, oh, he's nice to me, or she's kind to me. You can see I'm happy because they like me. And that's how we, it's like what do you call, or in a computer, what do you call it, operating system, right? What do you call that thing? Yeah, OS, yeah, OS. OS, that's the OS. And if we do that, that's okay, because we are dependent. We have to love each other, we have to be nice to each other, that's no doubt about it. But we invest everything on this, then we will fail. The one thing that's consistently is within us is ourselves. We never separate from ourselves. But the friends and relatives are always going to be there in the form of love, if you love them. But physically, we don't know how long we'll be together. And then eventually we die. We lose our children, grow, they leave. We grow old. The people who do good things to us can't do anymore because they can't do it. So if we put our work in good things that come to us, we will be weaker and weaker. So what we need to do is put our own power in, combine this external power and internal power, and more in internal power, because external power is contingent on our inner power. Another idea I'd like to pass that to you is based on what I'm talking about, mainly difficulties we face, the difficulties that provokes us, the difficulty that makes us upset, angry, rude to other people, rude to ourselves. Those difficulties are pretty much determined by our own. And that's hard to see, but at least that's how we should kind of explore, kind of look, see if that's really how that works. Buddha is called the one who, besides many other countless qualities, has perfected the power of patience. We can also, in our own, each individual's own level of capacity, can entertain and practice patience and benefit from it. And there are interesting ways to look at it, but I'll suggest a few things. Of course, impatience comes from harm from somebody who has a mind of his own, or it could come from weather, it's too hot, too cold, or it can come from the form of misfortunes, bad lucks, or somebody getting late, or you had a difficult time in your life, or you're a little jealous of others' misfortune, that kind of things. It can come from many sources. So the effects of that impatience, a degree of the greater the impatience, the more suffering, lesser the impatience, less suffering. And those harm that seem to come from outside are actually controlled within ourselves. As if we have a control board. And I'll tell you a funny metaphor that will help you. And that sounds like this. If I have a cold, is that right? Cold, like running nose. and my hand is probably full of virus, is that right? And then if 10 people come, I shake hands, is that right? So we know each person is going to get a share of virus, is that right? But we also know not everybody is going to get sick. That some will get terribly sick, some is perfectly fine, some are a little bit affected. The harm that I did to 10 people is same, but for some, it's absolutely harmless. For some, it's extremely harmful. You can tell it's determined not the harmer like me does it. It is your strength and weakness that attracts or distracts the degree of harm that comes in our life. So this gives you an idea what patience or impatience, or the degree of patience. Or I will tell you that. First, tell you that story. So you can turn the page, backward, saying same thing with helps. If you try to help people, some same help, some benefit more than others. In the world history, from all walks of life, Buddhists, Christians, Jews, Hindus, believers, non-believers, communists, Democrats, Republicans, capitalists, socialists, doesn't matter. There are people in all walks of life have a degree of that pre-existing, or some are conscious that they saw the power of patience. And other the ones, there are great men and women who suffer 100 times more than each one of us combined, and they stood up and they become great, and they saw the life as wonderful, as opposed to a terrible place. So you can see that strength. If you look far enough, you will notice there are things there that we missed it and they saw it. So this kind of idea helps you a little bit to look at the things with a slight different angle. When you look from a different angle, you see the things slightly differently. In this case, somewhat positively. Another important thing I want to pass that to you, not necessarily you want to go and jump into practicing it, but just to create a basic operating system, and that is difficulties are not to be taken that seriously. Peace and happiness should be taken extremely seriously. I know it's a little confusing, but if you look closely enough to yourself, you will notice that the first thing you destroy is peace. You might protect your car, protect your house, protect your clothes, maybe nice clothes, somebody spills on you. You're more focused on the clothes than your peace of mind. So you can tell that you're taking very seriously about the difficulties. But you don't take seriously about your peace of mind. And if you really want to take the difficulties seriously, do it as an asset, as an asset. Use the difficulty as your. It's a favorable thing. It's a good thing that you have the difficulties. It's like a very bad smelling manure being tossed on your cornfield. You know, it doesn't look good, doesn't smell good, but you know it's very good for your crop. So where we need power to protect us, we get the power in the form of patience. Now, where do we get the patience from? So you sort of, I already gave you the hint. You know where the patience come from? Can somebody raise and tell me?
¿Alguien levante la mano?
Yes?
De la contemplación.
From the meditation.
Dejar fluir.
Yes, meditation is true.
The gentleman also said to be in the flow of things. Perdón de la dicha, he's saying from happiness. Equilibrium. From equilibrium.
No, from the difficulty itself.
Dejar fluir.
The gentleman is saying to let things flow, to letting things be.
However you do it, but it comes from the challenges. Of course, this message is not for the weak-minded. I just want to have a waiver here. And definitely not for people who have medical issues. You can take it as inspiration if it's interesting. But for those who don't have mental issues, and who can think well, and you should take seriously that your power comes from the challenges that comes in the form of harms, abuses, all sorts of things, cold, difficulties, misfortunes. These are actually not bad in themselves. They are taken wrongly, then we suffer. But if you take it properly, take it like a manure, then they are actually, like the Buddha, we should entertain challenge. Just as we pay respect to the Buddha, we should pay and thank the people who challenge us. Because that makes us strong, and that strength makes us free of harm, protect us. And in other words, we use the very harm to protect ourselves from further harm. In the practical life, I notice that when you're weaker, you're looked down. When you're stronger, you're respected. And it's a strange thing we do, but it's something to think about. The people who show negative, people who are violent, people who use force, it's a sign of weakness, cowardice. And for us, certainly, as we talk more, it gets more complex because political, psychological, social issue gets tied up into it. That is your life's effort in understanding patience. But today, I'm not here to give you once for all ideas, it's just to provoke ideas, just think about it. So, unfortunately, we have very little time left. And should we entertain some question or not?
Yeah, I think, how many questions are you are about to answer? Maybe 2, 3, 4?
Okay, let's say 3.
Okay.
The question is, are there any cases in which the excess of patience is harmful?
I never heard of excess of happiness as harmful. Anyway, but how you do it, yes.
See?
Patience, no access. But how you do it, yes. You have to be very educated, skillful. And I had this little fantasy in my mind. I want to set up a school of patience. And that way you learn all the little details. That's a fact, I'm just joking, fantasy.
Excess of patience is harmful. School of patience. All the different elements of patience, how you do it.
I'm very forgetful. I was just thinking and then I forget right in the middle of my conversation.
Soy muy olvidadizo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's like, yeah, now I remember. Telling truth is a good thing, but how you tell the truth changes the whole thing. Same thing with patience. Patience is good, no matter what. Absolutely good thing. It's a positive thing, but how you do it can change the patience. Yeah. Don't take this too seriously, if I'm going to say funny things.
No, no lo tome muy en serio de lo que voy a decir en este momento.
You need clothes, you need food, you need house to protect you from the weather, from cold, from whatever. That's is absolute necessity. So let us say I'm homeless, I have no food, I'm down. I would say I would steal some food. Knowing is not the right thing, but it's absolute essential. Did you get the point there?
¿Entienden?
Okay, I hope you don't misunderstand. You didn't misunderstand, all right? The teachings are dangerous if you misunderstood.
Si lo malentienden, las mismas enseñanzas pueden causar daño.
But beside that, the rest is unnecessary. And definitely stealing. There's so many things we don't need. So many things. I can live without so many things. And that's where the issue differs. But I'm not going to harm somebody for my own survival. That I know.
Yes.
Then the issue changes from simple food, a meal for the day versus harming. The whole issue changes. Anyway, that's a long answer to a short question.
Sí, like why do you not speak in Tibetano? Quieren decir is they're wondering why you're not speaking in Tibetan.
Because something else, Tibetan is not perfect yet. She's learning, but she has not reached the level of communication.
Pronto.
Maybe some mantra, Tibetan mantra. Maybe you can
I'll tell them. Yeah.
later on to all of us.
So that was the question. If anybody wants to learn Tibetan, I'll be very happy to teach you.
How do I cultivate patience? And is this related to my character?
I think so. Patience is not a singular thing, it's a lot of issues. Like cooking, you remember? Patience itself has to have other components. You have enough food, you have enough clothes, you have good enough, just not for a lot, enough friends. You need those, it's important. And then that's external condition. But the inner condition, your attitude, and patience is good. We always don't have to fight all the time. I always don't have to win. I think it's nice to let others win. It's nice that they enjoy at my cost, and instead of I'm enjoying in their cost, like that. So there are a lot of issues that we can cultivate and not to do with our attitude, character. Yeah. And that has to do with the culture. The culture says you have to fight. You grow up like that, and then you build a certain behavioral attitude. And then all the cultures say, be nice to each other, if you're as a child. And chances are you're going to have that kind of behavioral thing. And based on how much what you are, these same idea can have a different meaning to you. Other thing is, the whole evening today I'm creating a little bit of scenery in those different bring more components and a certain culturing of the mind. It's kind of like if you're going for a very important job interview.
Por ejemplo, si van a ir a una entrevista para un puesto muy importante.
You wear a nice coat and you put in a nice confident smile and face. You have to do it. If you go with the bad clothes and bad attitude, you're guaranteed not to get a job. If you want to succeed as a person, as a family member, as a community member, you have to put on that nice suit and big smile that I can do it. It's okay. That I suffer is fine. And it's better yet, I'm the one who's suffering. That's okay.
What is your opinion on organ donation and blood donation? What are your thoughts on the issue? Does this interfere with the karma of the donor or the karma of the recipient?
The karma has two kinds, the physical karma and the mental karma. The good or bad karma has to do with physical good action, mental good action, or combination of physical and mental good action, or sometimes action is good, the mind is not good. Sometimes mind is good, the action is not good. So you need to know that kind of, combination. If both the mind, mental state, and the physical action are both positive, then karma is very effective. Effective meaning something good is going to come in an effective way. To oneself. So if you do the very kind mind, but do very lousy job, the karma is kind of a little ineffective. Or vice versa. If you do a karma very physical, like very nice, but you're mentally not too excited, focused, or meant it diminishes the power. And so if you give blood or organs kindly, with the altruism, with such a love, that's different from you doing it, all my life's useless, just give it away. Versus, somebody's doing it, maybe I should do it, just so that I get some credit. So you can see the differences. I'm not saying that if you don't have a good mind, you cannot do good action. I'm not saying that. If your wisdom says, if I do this, it will help them, even though I just don't want to do it. At least if it's not effectively a good karma for you, but it's definitely good for karma for the recipient of your help. So the idea is do the best you can. Don't wait for a perfect day. Puritanism is not a good thing. It underestimates the potential for each individual. And finally, we'll do some meditation. And before that, I want to add a final word. Patience is if you are a patient person, you look graceful, you look wonderful. You will, if you train yourself more, not right away, but as you practice patience, you will feel very handsome, pretty. Not only that, people will look at you, they're handsome, pretty. That will affect your work, your whatever, business, strength. People will feel you in a good way. That this person is a strong will, graceful, and it will immediately, transcend the physical aspect. It goes right into the heart. And with that attitude, you will overcome any hardship and you will succeed beautifully. Great. So what we'll do is we'll do a little sitting. If you join with me. I want to sit on the floor, so kind of a little uncomfortable. Our meditation is going to be called prayerful meditation.
Nuestra meditación se va a llamar
Should have said the whole time back.
Era que me hubiera sentado así todo el tiempo, está mucho más cómodo y más fácil.
Christian agnostics, I'm pretty sure communists pray when there are difficult times. And of course, our prayer is different from one another. It's a powerful thing, like the patience. And it's nice to include the scope of the prayer. The bigger the scope of the prayer is, the better it is. I suppose, may I, may we all, may every being in the universe, that the greater the scope, the more the powerful prayer is. So repeat the prayer after me in Tibetan. And the first prayer is we're going to say, may all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness.
Y lo primero que vamos a decir es que todos los seres sea que tengan la felicidad y las causas de la felicidad.
So if you like, you can fold your hand at heart, because that's symbol of your praying from the heart.
Si les gusta, pueden unir las manos en frente del corazón. Eso significa o simboliza que lo que van a decir viene del corazón.
Senjen,
Senchen.
Tamjen, Dewatang, Dewe, Gyutang, Denbaru, Kyurji. May all be free from suffering and the cause of suffering.
Que todos estén libres del sufrimiento y de las causas del sufrimiento.
Senjen Tamje, Dungaltang, Dungalgi, Gyutang, Chawar, Kyurji. May all never be separate from the happiness of no suffering.
Que ninguno jamás esté separado de la dicha, que no tiene ningún sufrimiento.
Senjen Tamje, Dungalmebe, Dewatang, Midawar Kyurji. And finally,
Y por fin,
we all live in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to the near and far ones.
que todos vivan en un estado de la ecuanimidad, sin tener apego ni rechazar a cualquiera que se encuentre cerca o lejos.
Senjen Tamje, Yering, Chadantang, Chawe, Tamnumla, Never, Kyurji. So finally, I'd like to thank you again, everyone, spending time together, focusing on some of the values that has to do as human being that is within us, within our own reflecting within ourselves the power and the resourcefulness that is all within us.
Y de nuevo quiero agradecerle a todos ustedes por el tiempo que hemos pasado aquí juntos esta noche, escuchando y pensando y reflejando sobre algunos de estos asuntos tan importantes como seres humanos, que nos pueden dar tanto poder, y también que lo tenemos todo dentro de todos nosotros, que podemos aprender a ser más recursivos para todas estas cosas.
So do anything it takes to protect yourself from the harms of impatience.
Entonces, por favor, hagan todo lo posible por protegerse del daño de la impaciencia.
We didn't talk a word about how to go about it, but these, as one suggestion, always take 3 seconds before you react to the challenges.
No tuvimos la oportunidad de decir mucho cómo hacerlo. Fue más un poco una introducción, una exploración sobre el tema de la paciencia, pero algo que les puedo sugerir es que antes de responder, antes de abrir la boca para decir cualquier cosa, que pausen y que esperen 3 segundos.
Thank you.
Gracias.